Welcome back to the Stephen Knight Show. Adam, what is the weather like in DC?
Man, it is like Sean Paul. Wait, oh, I don't remember who said it, but it's the right temperature and it's over 100 degrees. It's
Mm.
unbelievable. I don't know how people are outside right now, but yeah. I mean, look, it's I've been wanting the heat for a while. We got it.
Now you got
We'll
it.
still take this over like below freezing, but
Mm.
yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah, it's funny. You can always lay out my clothes for the week, like on Sundays, because I get up so early and it just makes one less thing for me to do. And so I was asking Alexa, "What's the temperature this week?" And I was thinking, just say hot, which was giving me all the temperatures: 90 this, 90 that, 100. And I'm thinking, Lord, we're here, we're
Yep.
here. Well, listen, I'll let y'all take it away with movie reviews.
Sure thing. So I actually saw the latest release on HBO Max called Cleaner, and it is I guess, a British action film starring Daisy Ridley as a window cleaner. So she is a window cleaner at this high-rise office building. And the movie starts off with like she has an autistic older brother, and she has to bring him into the office because of just issues that happen at the beginning of the movie. Well, what happens while she's cleaning is that there's a terrorist attack on the building by these eco-terrorists that come in and hijack. This company is having its like little gala, and they come in and hijack all the CEOs and the important people and the owners of the company, and they start having demands, and they're going against the company for polluting and things like that. And so she is out on the window and like on one of those little things that you do window cleaning from. And she has to navigate this situation. She sees some things happening. She's learning what's going on, and she has former military background that we learn. And so she's going to go in and kind of help this situation. Her real priority is like helping her brother who's in the building as well, but of course helping these people out is it's kind of the secondary benefit. So I think, there's been some comparisons of like this is like a Die Hard kind of movie. Yeah, it has that feel, it has that vibe. We get in and the terrorist attack, but it's lacking a lot more of the action that we get from Die Hard. And I don't think many people are going to watch this, so I'm going to give a little spoilers. But for example, we get her first like big combat sequence doesn't start until over an hour into the movie. So she spends like a lot of time outside on the window, and there's some moments in there, and like the intentions of the villains, like trying to get rid of her, are kind of silly. But yeah, I'm like, I don't need like a mindless action movie per se, but if we're gonna see her kick butt, then we need to have her in the movie doing it a little more than what we expect. So I think it falls flat there. Clive Owen is in the movie. He's great. He's like the leader of the terrorist group. But then, and this is why it's kind of a spoiler, he gets off pretty quickly by someone else. So there are some like twists and turns of like the internal motivation of this eco-terrorist cell and like what they're trying to do. So it had potential. It has potential to like kind of make you feel what's going on here. We get a little bit of her background, we get a little bit of like the CEO's background, but not enough to actually like flesh into a story that keeps you interested. Um, Not an awful movie by any means, but it was a little lacking. Not enough action for and I don't think it's trying to be a Die Hard like clone, but you know, any movie that has terrorists attacking a high rise is going to just be compared to that. So you just got to be aware of what's going to happen. But yeah, Cleaner, it's on HBO Max. If you want to watch it, feel free. Again, no regrets watching it, but I was hoping for a little more.
Is that the only thing you saw?
Yes.
Okay. So I saw two films. You know me and my documentaries. This one was pretty interesting. It's called Bigorexia, and it's basically bigorexia is the opposite of anorexia. It's normally affecting men, and it's men that are in the world of bodybuilding, and in their eyes, they have body dysmorphia, and they cannot see themselves their true size. They always see themselves smaller than they actually are. So they're excessively working out to be bigger by any means necessary, meaning by steroids or um, cosmetic surgery. And there is something else. I didn't even write down the name of the procedure, but it's a chemical enhancement, but it's not just steroids. It's something that actually attaches to the fibers of your muscles to make them bigger. I'm sure if you guys are on TikTok, there's a guy that comes on TikTok and he has these extra special big arms, and it looks really weird because he just has big biceps, and they're like extra ballooned up. And there's actually two guys. There's one, he does it in his chest and he does it in his arms, and they look really weird. They look really like alien. And it's because they put too many injections in those spots, and those spots grow. And the one man looks like he technically has breasts. And to them, they don't see anything wrong. They just see muscle. They see that they need to get bigger. They even have a couple gentlemen that are trans and they have this affliction. So they're transitioning over to female, but they also are taking testosterone steroids, and they are also injecting things to be bigger than what they actually are. So you can only imagine what that looks like. And I just think it's very interesting. And it was a deep dive into the mental wellness of these people. If it interests you at all, it was highly entertaining for me simply because I've never heard of that before. So it was going down a rabbit hole of all this newness. And I saw that on Tubi. It's called Bigorexia. The next film is called The Wolf Hour, stars Naomi Watts, and it takes place in 1977 New York. And it's during the time of Son of Sam, and it's also during the time of the riots and the blackouts. And she is a, well, what would be that they didn't have that term then, but she's a cultural influencer because she's a writer, and she has great fears, and she thinks about staying in her apartment and trying to ride out all of this negativity that's happening outside the apartment. But she soon realizes that she's in a more vulnerable space staying still in her apartment than she is being free and out in the world. And there's someone or something tormenting her. Um, if anyone ever spent any time in New York, New York has these high-rise buildings, apartment buildings, and the mechanism for you to reach someone that lives in the building is pressing the doorbell, which is a buzzer, and they have to talk to you, and they buzz you in the building. So she gets a lot of harassment over her buzzer, and she's hello, who's there, and there's a lot of breathing, there's a lot of clicking, and it's driving her up the walls, driving her slowly insane. It's pretty intense. Naomi Watts, of course, she's a great actress. She does the film justice because she takes you on that journey of the intensity of what that would feel like. You actually feel what she should be feeling being trapped in her apartment and not having any recourse to save herself. So definitely check that out. And that was it for me.
I didn't see a movie, but I did watch a comedy special while I was cleaning up on Friday. Mike Epps Ready to Sell Out. He
Mm,
is it was hilarious. I didn't know what to, I mean, I think he's funny. I didn't know what to expect. But he talks about a lot of stuff, but he was saying that he's 52 years old. Well, it was shot last year or aired last year, but he was saying that at 52 years old, he doesn't care what people know about him now. And he was talking about how he's a therapist. He was telling about, well, he's telling the audience, you see me in a lot of movies, and a lot of those movies I was on coke. And he said, and then someone said, what? And he said, yeah, go back, because they shout out some movie. Go back and watch the line where I said something, and he was making a joke about it. But he said he has a therapist, and he has two therapists. He said that one is the therapist said, now why do you think you need coke? No, why you like coke so much? He said, I like the smell. But
That's good.
it was just, it was funny. He touched on a lot of things. It was funny, but I just want to shout that out. It's called Ready to Sell Out, and he was talking about how he's accused Will Smith and Chris Rock and some others of selling out. And he said, but I realized that the way I was doing it, he ain't making no money, so I'm ready to sell out with the rest of them. So he
mm.
was apologizing. But anyway, check that out. Anything coming down the pipeline?
Speaking of which, does Will Smith, is he have a new album or a new song out?
I
Or is
think he
that
had a new album come out earlier this year, but I don't think he did anything.
okay? Okay, yeah, it's popping up in my Spotify all of a sudden. I was
Mhm.
like, wait, what happened?
Yeah.
Are we back to the 80s? Um, Nothing big for me. I do want to see. I think I'm convinced myself to go see that new Jurassic World movie that comes out around July 4th. It's kind of like a reboot, like I mentioned last time, so that'll be
Yeah,
cool. But yeah, that's the big one for me.
yeah.
I've been waiting for the old guard since the old guard
Yes.
ended. So it drops July 2nd on Netflix. I cannot wait. And you know, it stars Uma Thurman, and when you think about Uma Thurman, you can't help but to think about Kill Bill and her epic fight scenes. And her and Charlize Theron have an epic fight off in this movie. I cannot wait because I know they're going to do it justice. Because listen, these gentlemen need to check out with these women about production and delivery of optically what fight scenes look like, because it seems like the women are more on point with it than the men are. Maybe Keanu Reeves has a little bit more insight into it because of his John Wick series, because those fight scenes are epic too. But Charlize Theron is no slouch, you know, and that's her baby. And I'm looking to see what she's going to do second time around, because technically, when you do a sequel, it needs to be better than the first, right? We'll see.
Exactly.
We'll see.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for letting us know what to spend our time and money on, what not to. And we're right back after this.